Ta-da! What is happening, my friends out there in YouTube land? Yours truly, Rockin' Dave, the real deal. North Fort Myers, South West Florida. Thought we'd bust out the old lawsuit guitar. Maybe for tomorrow's gig. How's that sound? Nice guitar. Look at that quilted top. It is a neck through, and the finish is called Amber. And it is a U.S. made, I'm pretty sure it's USA made, Gibson Epiphone Spotlight. Dubbed the lawsuit guitar because it kind of looks very familiar. Even the bevel here, you know. However, what makes this different is this back side. Let me just unplug this. I'm just going straight into the little Yamaha amp. The neck, where it joins the body. Okay, this is a lot smoother, if you could see that. On the guitar company that sued them, because it looks like it's a rigid. It's a very, you could feel the line, very strong. And I believe he got that from Hamer Guitars, because Hamer Guitars back in the day had that. Maybe he was a builder with them, I don't know. But we're not talking about that. We are talking about this for a very specific reason. Actually, in the style of, I kind of keep it in the theme of like the jazz rock fusion thing, because of our newly released CD, Hope on the Horizon. It being on the jazz fusion. And do you mind if I turn this a little bit dim?
Turn it which way?
Yeah.
Turn it why?
Oh no, well just a little bit. I don't want too much of that. Anyways, you know, keeping in that theme, and the last CD we covered which was Uno, was very strong, like rock, jazz fusion rock, and this CD actually Malaya came out in 2007. I think we released it in 2007, and the photo here, we started doing the recordings, I want to say late 2005, because that photo is with, we still have that guitar too. It's the Washburn classical guitar. That was the balcony of our stay at the Malaya San Lucas Hotel. So that's why the name of the CD is Malaya. It's kind of named after the hotel we were at in the Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. We were down there October 2005. And
We're actually there to celebrate
yeah,
our friend's wedding anniversary.
yeah, they all came down.
They invited us. That's where they were planning on celebrating their wedding anniversary, and invited a bunch of all us friends to come down and join them and hang out with them.
And then go to see Sammy Hagar.
And see Sammy at the Cabo
Yep.
Wabo. And so that's how we ended up in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico.
Yep. And the funny thing is, so we brought the guitar down and did some recordings down there, and you know, enjoyed our stay. I remember playing poolside. This is when we met Michael Anthony from Van Halen. I thought Greg was BSing us, you know, BSing me, because I'm playing with some of the locals, just jamming out, and you know, you hear, oh yeah, so and so is here. They're looking at you, this, that, and the other. Thought, yeah, you know. Well, it was true, because Deb was in the pool with, you know, Angie and all the gang. We were all having a great time, and sure enough, Michael Anthony was there. And what a nice guy he is, man. Very, very great guy. And he complimented me on my playing, because he was listening to me, you know. I was right there. And so the whole deal with this CD was the photo, if the photo shot was taken there, and this was, see, I don't know if I take it, there might be a little bit of a glare, but yeah, if I could do that. That was, if we come out our hotel room and we made a left, that's exactly what we saw, right, literally out our door. And of course, I put the guitar up against there, I took the picture there, and there's the mountainside, and that's Gulf of Mexico. Well, no, that is Mexico. Is it Gulf side?
Oh,
maybe not.
Yeah,
Maybe
were on the Gulf side.
Yeah, we're on the Gulf side.
Yeah, we're on the Gulf side.
And it's just really, you know, really interesting. And I think the photo shoot on the disc itself was again off the hotel
Our balcony.
balcony
Overlooking the pool.
overlooking the pool. But you know, it was beautiful. It was great, man. It was great. So a lot of the songs have that flair and that flavor to it. Um,
So let's start with song 1.
yeah. So with
Sunrise over Rio.
yeah, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna quickly go over these songs because they're gonna kind of blend together with basically the same theme and same meaning. And there's a couple that have been written actually like decades before, but like Sunrise Over Rio is that one just has a nice, you know, Spanish flair, but kind of laid back. And actually, even though I don't have the Cordoba with me right now, I just wanted to kind of, you know, its rhythm structure is basically this. Oh, hold on. It's basically off of C minor and just. It just has a really nice laid back, and you know when we came back, we were still living up in Illinois, Chicago, or actually Aurora, Naperville, a suburb of Chicago, and we had this map, and it was literally over the recording gear. Remember that, Deb?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at these titles because some of them I didn't know exactly what title to give it. And Rio just came to mind because it was actually right as I'm looking at the map, bam, bam, there it was, you know. So, you know, basically a lot of this was sunrise and sunsets, these photos, and you know, that's how that came about. And yeah, there you go. She could play it on the phone because, yeah. And it starts up with the soft strings.
So that's on our website.
Yeah.
Malaya's on our website, and that's track 1.
Actually, I'm going to be right back.
Just stop by to say hello. Hello, Will.
What is happening, Will?
Hi.
I could do even better with that, bro.
Thank you for stopping by. We're going through David's Malaya CD tonight. And then answering any questions you guys want to ask.
Yeah, watch this now. Because you could plug this into the headphone. Make sure you got it in. Yeah. That's what I love about this little amp. So it kind of speaks for itself. And one thing with instrumental guitar music, or instrumental music in general, it could kind of dictate a story. It could dictate a story. And the melodies, the rhythms.
Later, guys. All right, Will. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for stopping by, Will. Real appreciate it, man. It all could just dictate this vibe, this whole feeling. To me, that's the beauty with instrumental music. Since there's no lyrics, if you have a very kind of a poetic title and a rhythm that kind of reflects that title, and then some sort of imagery, you know, it's good. It works well. So now, if we go on to the next song, Island Dance, it has a very, very upbeat vibe to it, almost like a dance. And where we were sitting at.
Oh, you guys should replay later. All right, Will. No worries. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem. It just has that vibe, and you know when the area that we were at on with the hotel, it was like on its own tropical island. So that's how the song Island Dance came out.
Yeah, like a
little crackle there.
Yeah, a little crackle in the connection.
The thing is with this kind of music, when you have fast scales like that, even though the rhythm is upbeat, it's not overly fast. And what I hear in my head that works is if you have a slow rhythm or a medium pace rhythm and you do the speed burst, it really stands out. Now since the rhythm is still going strong here, but it's not super fast or anything, it works if I only do slower melodies and then the speed burst. It works perfect. And then with the percussion, it gives you that kind of a Latin feel. So it's a great piece there. Now the third song, which is Bossa Nova, yeah, these first three are done with the Cordova. So Bossa Nova has, starts with an A minor, has just a very Bossa Nova beat to it. And again, we're vacationing, we're relaxing and having a good time, and basically that's what this whole feel is. And yeah, see, here comes the melody. And it's just something that just works. And even though I'm basing this off of an A minor chord progression to an F major 7 and then extending on the F sharp bass. And I don't mean the bass on the low E, I mean the bass on the D string. And then just bringing up the melody up, to the next modulation there. But the rhythm is just a constant relaxing. So that's why that works. Now, follow-up is Brazilian Sun. Now here I think we're doing this with
track number 4.
Yeah, which is track 4.
Sorry about the scratchy, it's the chord. It's a bad chord.
Yeah, I don't think it's really quick. It could be the end of that phone. But anyways. And I play this pretty often. If I'm with the electric guitar. And this is titled Brazilian Sun. And again, it's Mexico into South America, it just has this whole vibe. And when we're at these places, and this is what we're actually seeing, and it's more than just like looking at it, it's just, you're feeling that air, you could smell the sense of the ocean, it's like, it opens up all your senses, is really what it does. And because of that, if you're a creative person, it just, man, here comes the creativity. You just record as much as you can off of whatever device you have. Record it because it's those vibes you want. Yeah, and it's just like a very, the thing with this is, I'm pretty sure the beginning part is the electric guitar doing the rhythm, the acoustic guitar doing the melody. And it just has a really nice backdrop, which works great. Now if we go into track 5, which is As I Look Into Your Eyes, it just basically has that feel. And all this is just, a lot of this was recorded over the course of time. Yeah. There's little secrets of recording some of the stuff. When you pan guitars to one side and the other side, you got this open area here. It creates this vibe that you start to realize that this is why when people record what they record.
Metal Gaming says hi from Denmark.
Hey, what's happening, man? From Denmark. Thank you for tuning in. So what happens is you start creating these atmospheres, and now on some of our other videos, I'm shredding away, and I love doing all that, but I also love this kind of music as well. And it to me, I'm very blessed and fortunate by having these interests. So when I play this stuff, it works for me at these places because this is also another interest. It's not like, okay, for my friends that are just into metal, some of them like this stuff as well because it's the calm. You know what I mean? It gives you good balance. So stuff like this has equal value as much as shredding, and they coexist. And again, this is just the title leads right into itself. Now the next track here, which is track 6, La Villa Bella, which is another. This basically is like a soft flamenco style. The chord progression here is A major 7 to G major, A minor 7 to G minor 7.
Metal Gaming says, agree, I like metal, rock, and also what you play.
Thank you.
Now, and other guitar, silent stuff, and stuff like George Bellis, etc.
Oh yeah, all this stuff. You know what? It really works very well. And in the metal world, you could draw from these ideas in certain parts, like especially like progressive metal, like progressive rock, because you're gonna go through all these different courses. Because the whole idea of the music is to take you on a journey. Mm-hmm. Now, okay, and then of course we got the drums, just fading in and that. Now the next track, 7, Cabo San Lucas, yeah, because that was basically because that's where we were in Cabo San Lucas, so that's a representation. And it definitely has that rhythm, very strong. Now I got contrasting or cascading melodies going on, and it works. Like I said, when you record, I love doing the recordings where I could get in and I could do the panning left and right and all that, because that's where you start getting some. I know there's people that are way into the the recording with the big nave or nave recording consoles, and there's magic you could do there, But when you mix this stuff, and because it's not overly distorted or anything, it just creates this vibe. So when I'm doing, like, one guitar is here, the other guitar is here, it's like they're talking back and answering each other against the rhythm, And it still just has this vibe of, you're in a really cool place and you're enjoying yourself, and it's like a calm shredding thing, you know what I mean? Yeah, so that definitely. Now the next track, Because of You. Now let me think as I hear this, because I haven't heard this in a while. Yeah. This.
Agree with Dave. I listen along progressive metal rock also. I like Dreaming special guitar stuff. Also, Tony
McAlpine, yep.
McAlpine and Jeff Beck is fabulous, and also many more.
It's interesting. My I don't want to say my introduction to instrumental music, because I was brought up on instrumental music, classical, motion picture soundtrack, and all that. But I think one of my first albums, instrumental, that I bought was Jeff Beck's Wired. And then after that, Blow by Blow. So he had the whole instrumental guitar thing. And that was before I met my friend Andy. And he was telling me about Al Di Meola and Return to Forever and all that. That was great stuff. So that was kind of my interest. But this particular track right here.
OFC, also Yngwie Malmsteen.
Oh, yeah.
The Swedish guitar guy.
Yeah, yep. And of course, Tony McAlpine, if you ever heard him play classical piano, it's like, if you closed your eyes, man, you would not, and just listen to those classical pieces, you wouldn't think that he's a guitar shredder. You know, he's fantastic, man. Oh God, he's great. And so when he had Concrete Garden, he had this co-guitarist, female co-guitarist, Neely Brosh, and she's awesome. She's like one of the best female guitar players that's out there. There's a lot of good ones out there, but she's really good, really good, you know. But this piece right here, originally, this dates back to this chord progression, and this is the way it came out. Oh, I want to say.
I said it was a chord, but you're telling me it's the phone.
Yeah.
So
That's fine.
it's a 2-minute clip.
Okay.
It's from the website.
Yeah, if you could pause that real quick.
Oh.
Because that previous track, originally, the whole chord progression like that was composed late, I want to say in the fall of 1982. And I just kept cycling it, kept never.
Nice.
Yeah. And it just worked. Now if we go on to the next track here.
Oh man, sorry about that. Wish I knew if it was this chord or not.
Yeah.
I feel like it's getting worse.
Now this track.
Angel.
Yeah. This is another track that was a continuation of the previous song. And this was actually was a jam set, same year, same time frame, late 1982, a jam session with Andy's like best friend, like guitar brother, Angel. And we were doing these jams like this and these chord progressions. This is when we started experimenting with different types of chords. And it just came out. So it's kind of like a dedication to that time frame, you know? And it worked since we were in Mexico, you know? So yeah.
Nice.
That one really goes through. Now the next song, which is track 10.
Track 10.
Yeah, Mother Mary, yep. This basically has, what I hear in my head, it just has that vibe. So the title, Mother Mary, just, yeah. Because when I listen to the melody, now this track we recorded the Cordoba and with the guitar system, because I can hear the soft strings coming in.
Nice.
And the bass in that part, which is great. So a lot of this stuff, when you're creating these atmospheres, again, the idea is to take you on a journey. And like I said, there's certain, experiment. We just play with chord progressions, and that's how things start to almost take on its own life, you know. Yeah, it's just a great track. Just relaxing back, you know.
It's really pretty.
See what the sound of Cordoba is great, man.
Yeah, that's a sweet sounding guitar.
Yeah. Okay, so this is followed by track 11, which this was entitled Heavenly Father, and it has, again, kind of continuing on with that theme. And it does open up with the harmonics and the synths. And it's interesting with these chords. It's like a so you basically open E, right on F sharp, and the You're just walking up from B, C, C sharp to D. But how it blends together, and then with the soft strings, and then with the melody, it just works. So it just has this nice vibe to it. Now the closing track, Malaya, is definitely, up tempo. And that one we did a lot of the melodies with the electric guitar, although we did the rhythm with the acoustic. And yeah.
Oh yeah, be on fire now.
And then sometimes I improvise everything, so it's never the same. But it definitely has a lot, especially the closing of this CD, because I added the horn section off of the Roland GR33 guitar synth, and it just really, just really worked. And a lot of times I would do this live at the quarters.
Yeah, this song climax.
Yeah, it does. It
Just
climaxes.
keeps going.
And at the end is the whole final ending on the final note is also with the horn section and the electric guitar, just like bam. The secrets of playing fast is making sure it fits the rhythms that you're actually playing. That's what makes it work. And having your technique in that. But if it doesn't match the rhythm, it sounds like it's off. So yeah, it's the whole CD came out very, very good with
Yeah, really happy with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Now the thing is, even though the photos were done in August, not August, October of 2005, it's and some of the recordings was over and over and over, over the course of time. I think on this CD it made me realize when people are out and you're because we were still gigging, and doing some traveling and that, and it was like, wow, man, finding the time to really do all this is really challenging, And I remember reading an article, and this is why I wanted to kind of combine the topic with the CD and with some of our gigs and our travels, because this was a good testimony to that. It made me think about an article I read, a while back, where when Steve Morris was in Deep Purple, I think he still is, but he made a comment in this article in one of the Guitar Player magazines. He's being interviewed, and he says, "Man, I feel so bad for our fans because we want to release new material, this and that, but when we're out on the road and constantly going, it's like finding the time to hit the studio is like
Metal Gaming says I'm also practicing via Rocksmith game to get used to the guitar, strings, and how to handle chords, etc. You can learn a lot of songs. It's a good way to handle a guitar also.
Yeah, which is, at first I thought, well, the video games, but I thought, looking back at all that, it sparks the interest. And people have said with the was it the Rockstar game?
Yeah,
Rocksmith.
Rocksmith.
Yeah, if anything that's going to actually have you put your fingers on actual strings. With the Guitar Heroes video game, it was cool, but you're pressing these buttons, and I guess there was 4 or 5 of them. And the funny thing is, actual guitar players. I tried it once and it's like, man, I'm trying to figure this out. It's weird, man, you know? And you got these kids that are just destroying us, you know? I mean, I think I heard, I think Dave Mustaine was interviewed. I think John Petrucci from Dream Theater. All these great guitar players are saying they're getting destroyed by these young kids when it comes down to playing that video game. But now with Rocksmith, what Rocksmith did is by putting the strings on, so if you want to make the transition from playing video game to actual guitar, and enjoy the two, because they're both enjoyable, you know. Now it's a better transition because you actually putting, you know, fingers on strings. Now,
That's pretty cool. I never heard of Rocksmith
yeah,
game.
yeah.
I have to look into that. And Metal Gaming says, well played. It sounds good. So it likes the
Oh,
Malaya
thanks, man.
CD.
Yeah, it's.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I can't believe that was
Yeah.
2007.
That CD turned out really well.
Yeah, that dude.
And then Metal Gaming asks, what string gauge do you play with the electric guitar?
I go back and forth, like on the Ibanez RG guitar. I got nines on there. It took me a while to get used back to the nines because I was coming from 11s. I put 11s and here. I got 10s. So, and there's a reason why I went to a really thick, you know, it's not super thick. I mean, it's thicker gauge strings, but with the 11s, is my fingers got so used to. I used to practice on high action, you know, acoustic guitars and cheap electrics, but the main reason is because of my picking. You know, when I'm doing these, the strings don't wobble as much as they do at lighter gauge.
You said Rocksmith uses a real guitar, lead rhythm or bass. He says 10-46 or
Yep.
10-52.
It'll be 10-46. I'll tell you when I did use 10-42, so it was on the acoustic.
52.
Or 52, I mean. It was on the acoustic, on the Breedlove.
Oh.
And the reason why with the 10s,
Oh, he says, okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
but then, you know what I would do? With the 10, on the 10 gauge, I would swap it out for 11 because on the acoustic, everything is sitting on that saddle, and the thicker gauge strings were pushing down harder on the sensor than the lighter gauge, so I had to up on the lighter gauge.
Nice.
And that. So with the electric guitar, I mean, it's the acoustic with heavy gauge strings, and when you're recording these rhythms, and if a song is, let's say, over 5 minutes long, and all your rhythms are with bar chords, it becomes a little bit challenging, you know, because you're not just playing that song that first time and the only time. You're laying down tracks. So again, you're going back. So, you know, you're playing that song maybe 4 times. If you're doubling guitars, and you got stereo this side, stereo that side, that means you got 4 guitars because you doubled here and doubled there. 2 and 2 is 4. And with the bar chords, so it becomes, you know, 20 minutes. If the song's 5 minutes, you're 20 minutes playing that same rhythm. Now on the acoustic guitar, the steel string, it'll be like 10s or maybe 11s. On the nylon string, I go back and forth between Diodario hard tension and Diodario extra hard tension. And it's primarily because of my picking, and then when I'm doing finger picking, your notes pop out. And it's interesting with the higher tension nylon strings, it doesn't do anything to neck because on the Cordoba, the one I have, it's a 2001. There's no truss rod in the fretboard, so the neck is real strong. And on your standard traditional classical guitars, the nylon string guitars, there's no truss rods. Now I know not just your cheaper, I want to say cheaper, but more affordable ones or affordable model Cordobas and Yamaha, they'll put a truss rod in. But I'm starting to wonder if even some of the higher end that they'll do that because, you know, it's not uncommon to pay about $20,000 for a good classical guitar with no electronics, no cutaway, you know. But you're talking about premium woods. You know, they're made like how Stradivarius violins are made. You know, they have a purpose, and man,
Nice.
you could really tell the difference on those guitars, man. It's like, whoa. But, you know, you want to lug around a $20,000 guitar to a gig that pays you $100 and you're outside and people are drinking. Dude, you play Freebird? It's a little bit different, you know what I mean? God bless them, they all mean well, you know. But, you know, I'm glad that that question was asked because if anyone plays outside in the summertime, whether you're down here in Florida or Texas, Arizona, Wisconsin, the Midwest, you know, it gets how about it gets hot up there.
Yeah.
Because we were doing the Bristol Renaissance Fair every summer. We were out there, and we were.
Yeah.
I'd be out there about. We'd be out there about 10 hours because even though at the gates open at 10 o'clock, we would have to be there about 8 or 8:30 for our safety meetings, and we have our guitars with us, you know, warming up and everything. And whoa, man, it gets very hot and humid. And I'll tell you what, guys. I was experimenting with the coated strings back then. And okay, you will get a little bit of life. Now maybe, you know, I haven't used coated strings in more than 5 years. And the reason being is because I was spending, you know coated strings cost more than regulars, right? So I'm spending money on the coated strings and I figure, you know, this is a good test to see
Ryan's on. Dave, what's up? Hey, Brian.
what's happening, Brian.
Ryan. From
Oh my God, Ryan.
Ryan. Yeah.
Wait, what's happening? I thought that said Brian. Sorry about that, man. Hope all is well, man.
How's Illinois? I'm sure you're enjoying the weather.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be cooling down, man. And you in low humidity, cause it's been hot down here, man. Like real hot.
Thanks for stopping by,
Yeah, we
Ryan.
appreciate it, Ryan. Thank you so much, brother.
Cool.
So we would with those coated strings, you know, you pay about quite a few more bucks than regulars. And I was noticing, I thought, you know, I'm doing my gig at the Renaissance Fair, you know, and you're out there sweating. You're in the costume, you're sweating, man, and all that sweat's going on the strings, right? So I would put the new pack on the guitar, let's say I was using the nylon string. I tried the steel string and it worked all right, but was no amplification, very tough on the fingers. And if you're doing any type that's a flamenco based, where you're doing that, you know, where you're doing these type of rhythm, it's very hard, you know, like 8 hours.
Oh, your hands would swell up.
They'd swell up. My hands would swell up. They would swell up and tear up the fingernails and all that. And then when you got a high-end gig where you're playing classical guitar, you know, your fingernails are your guitar picks. Try playing with, you know, scratchy picks and torn up picks. It's the same concept.
Were we there for 3 seasons?
I think we were there for 4 seasons.
4 seasons?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we were there for 4 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a lot of
fun.
But what's interesting with these coated strings, so I'd put them on a few days before, let them stretch out, do the gig, and then Monday, well actually Sunday, because I was only there on Saturdays, I'd start to feel how it would, man, the strings were tarnishing, they were getting old, you know. I would get a few more days out of them, and I thought, man, you know what, these coated strings are supposed to be, you know, all this, that, and the other, and it costs us extra money. Let me try the regular. I tried the regular ones, and I got basically the same results. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to knock the coated strings. I guess there's something there, maybe especially now. But I put it to a real test, I thought, where you're outside in the extreme heat, you know, you're sweating on those strings, you're out there more than 8 hours, because like I said, with the safety meetings, you know, and even though in the beginning it's nice, it's low humidity, and you know, oh yeah, there she is. The queen.
The queen is sleeping. She goes blah, 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 snooze.
Yep. So I'm not knocking it, you know. I would never tell a person don't do this, don't do unless it's, you know, something that have to say something.
Metal Gaming says I use Ernie Ball regular Slinky 1046.
That's what I got on here.
I don't understand that the strings get kind of dirty black after only 7 days using them.
Now, where do
I
they get dirty black? Do
I
they?
try clean them every time, but they feel rusty quick. Should I change string brand?
You know, you could try.
What do you buy?
Well, on here these are Ernie Ball, the exact ones, Ernie Ball regulars. Or wait a minute, I take that back. On this one, I put the Diodario 10s. But on my other guitars, Ernie Ball, and I have not had that. I have not had that experience. You know when I had that experience, when I noticed certain fretboards on certain guitars.
The three small thin strings get kind of rusty feel quick. A rusty feel quick.
Yeah, it's probably well where you're playing, but sometimes down in the area where they're coming out of the bridge. It won't matter if you have a string through or if you have a stop bar tailpiece or even a Floyd. It's going to be kind of like in this area, um, and it's in by the neck.
Do you experience that?
Where I experienced that is on the Breedlove.
The rusty feeling?
Yeah, on the Breedlove when I was using, I think I was using Diodario acoustic guitar strings. You know the Fazer bronze. So I've said, you know what? I'm gonna put on a set of Ernie Ball electric strings, but the Burley, you know, the 011 to the 52s, I think it is. Or it might be the 011s to to 50 gauge or 48, but they're electric guitar strings. The G string is an unwound 18 gauge, so it's basically the same tension, but I don't get that tarnish. With the Fazer Bronze, I exactly around the same days, same time duration, they get kind of corroded and dirty. My ed, I'm guessing, but my educated guess is, I found out that certain fretboards, I don't know if they're attracting all this dirt in conjunction with your pickups, because your pole pieces are magnetic, you know, and any kind of dust, no matter where's, I mean, I could be wrong, but I noticed certain fretboards, it seems that it attracts. I don't know what it is.
You said ESP Brom M400 metallic orange. I think my fretboard is just a dark as yours.
Yeah, you know, this is a 1988 Spotlight guitar. So this fretboard, I'm pretty sure, is ebony because there's no wood grains, or you can it's like it's very very tight. And my old Ibanez Artist guitar, a 1978 model, had a ebony fretboard and was like that. Now your ESP, they could be using this wood called, I don't know, was it Nate, not NATO or something like that. And they got all these different blends of these woods now that they're using for your fretboard, as opposed to rosewood, because now rosewood's becoming kind of scarce, so the price of rosewood is really high. And I got a feeling that could be contributing to the strings tarnishing, because I think there's something with that wood.
It's an extra thin flat maple neck, it says.
Okay, but and you said your fretboard is as dark as mine, right?
So the fretboard wood is different than
Then
the neck wood.
the neck wood, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, except on the Camelot, that's bird's eye maple, but it is two different pieces glued together. But there's this. It is weird. Now you can try switching brands strings. That would be right there. Try that. If you're, I like Diodarios. The only thing I don't like is all the strings is in that same plastic, and when trying to change strings, it's just a pain. What I like about the Ernie Balls, they put them in separate. Reason being, if you pop a high E string or pop a B string or something, with the Ernie Balls, you're just taking that one string out, and the rest are in that package. But with the Diodarios, you got to once you open up, everything is like, try to put in that same plastic is crazy, man, It really is.
It's like a Jack in the
It's
Box.
like a Jack in a Box. Yeah, it's like, oh man. But yeah, I mean, you could definitely try the different brands.
It's a. Oh, okay. Okay, he's just smiling real.
Yeah.
He's smiling real big.
You know, you could try. Sometimes they'll use fast fret, so you could try, you know, the different brands of like not finger ease, but because finger ease is just kind of helps if you're like really sweaty and it's sticky, you know. But you could try different types of polishes, particularly for the fretboard. That's exposed wood, because you got to be careful if you put like pledge where you have an enamel, it could just screw up the enamel real bad, you know. But like or lemon oil, be careful of that because it's only meant for exposed wood.
He says, I have fast fret.
Yeah, I use fast fret too. I've been using that shit since like 1978, I think, or something like that. Man, not the same can. That'd be cool if I kept that same can.
The same can,
Yeah.
too.
Those things, I love fast frets is great, man. It comes in that little can and just you got the little rag. You know, that was, you know, back in the day, we didn't have all this fancy stuff. So, I mean, you know, that's what we had available.
Fancy smasher.
But yeah, you could definitely try that with the changing brands of strings, you know. I think I used to use boomers a long time ago, GHS boomers. It got to a point where, you know, even back then, there wasn't a whole lot of different brands, you know. And then we just grabbed what was available and you just did the best you could. Did the best you could with it, you know. But I'll tell you what, guys, it is interesting with some of the gear now. At our very last live stream we did at the birthday party, you know, we got rained and I shut the thing down because I thought maybe the guy wanted to shut down and we got to move stuff around. So that's mine. I apologize for shutting the stream down. But I did put a shot of where I was set up, and then literally inches away from our little, you know, partition wall was the pool. And people put chlorine in their pool. And then down here in Florida, you know, where we got all these canals, that's salt water. So you got the salt in the air. We're playing poolside. It's hot and humid, and you got chlorine in the pool. All of this stuff, you know, does these little molecules float in the air, and it does, you know, affect the gear. Now we haven't had any issues, negative issues so far, thank God. But there is a guy down here on the East Coast. I think his name is Sean Morrell.
He said, I might use the Dario 1046 then someday.
Yeah, just try that, you know, and just be aware when you open the package, you'll see, you know what I mean, all the strings they're all bumped together, man, you know, that's why the ball ends are color coded, you know. Dario went that route like about a decade or so ago. I remember it used to be in separate packages, you know, something changed. But, you know, for anyone that does anything outside, be careful in the areas you're playing at. Understand that could start to put wear and tear on your gear. Because this guy that's on the East Coast, he was talking about this. He said he plays, he does a lot of country clubs, and they have him right by the waterfront. And he said the salt from the, now they're on the East Coast, so they're getting it from the Atlantic side. Over a course of time, he had to replace a couple of pedals, I think he said, because it gets into the electronics, and it definitely could start to tarnish the steel. You know what I mean? So, when he mentioned that, I was thinking, whoa, wait a minute, you know? Some of my Digitech pedals, when he started to go out, I noticed was down here. And I didn't realize they have those, they're called like vacuum switches. It's just a button, you know? Now, if they're using a certain kind of an alloy metal or whatever they're using, okay. But still, that metal is being exposed to the air down here. And over a course of time, you're switching and switching and switching, you know. Even if you lubricate it over a course of time, it's the salt in the air that can start to, you know, tarnish things and corrode things. Remember that when we first...
So he's in Denmark. Are you near
If you're in Denmark, are you? Yeah,
Really?
are you anywhere like it's waterfront?
He said, "Thanks for the info about the string package."
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's just something to try and just see if that works. Because if you're anywhere by salt water, and I remember Deb told me this in the early
30
2000s.
minutes by train from Copenhagen. Yes,
Okay.
I live 10 walk from the sea, south of Copenhagen.
Oh wow, I bet it's beautiful there.
Oh, maybe that's what's going on.
That could be.
Salt in the air.
Yeah, that could be. Because when this guy was talking about, it, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I remember in the early 2000s we'd come down here, Deb.
Oh, 10-minute walk from the sea. Oh,
Oh,
nice.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you're close. Yeah,
you're
you
close.
got the salt in the air.
That's probably what it that could definitely contribute. Definitely. And in a situation like that, what do you do?
So it may not be the string brand.
May
It
not,
may just
yeah.
be the salt in the air.
And you could just try switching the string brand and just try experimenting with different string brands, and if it's the same
That's
result, that could be what's going on. So
Oh, he said interesting. Sea salt in the air.
yeah, and I never realized that, but I remember in the early 2000s. Remember we came down and we didn't see the band play, but remember they had everything all set up and they had the little Marshall amp and
Yeah,
the corners
oh,
was the metal corners that connected, and everything was like,
salt, yeah.
man, it was like corroded.
Yeah.
And Deb said that's because of the salt.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
And
right.
I'm like, you know what? So that's instantly what I thought about when this guy was talking about that. So that's what could be what's happening. So you could get in touch with the local chamber of commerce, and then you get the bulldozers out there, and you just cover up all the water, you know, or you move or something. No, I'm not. You know what I mean? But in those situations, you're really at the mercy of the atmosphere, and it's the weather. Yeah, it'll do that. It'll definitely do that.
Well, that was an interesting topic.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was really good.
definitely.
A lot of good questions there.
Yeah, definitely, because it's something that you're going to go through if you're out there, even if you're not gigging, and just playing for pleasure, which is great because you do what you want. You're gonna notice because you're spending money on all these strings, and then if there's a shortage, and then if you got a gig, it's like, oh man. So, you bring a few guitars with you. You try to get them to sound to match,
Yeah, last week's gig we did get rained on. We got
rained
for
down.
those of you that were with us. Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, I saw the dark clouds hanging over us, and just kind of praying that it would not
Man.
it would not open up.
Oh
And
man.
yeah, we got through an hour and a half of the 3-hour show, and then we were gonna go in the house and finish up the show, the gig, but then the guests for the party, they were saying, well, why don't you play under here, which was like a little patio that had an overhang, and they had a table and chair set up there, and the guests were saying, well, we can move this over to the tiki hut, and
They
you
were
guys
real
can
nice
set up
people,
under
man.
here, because they still wanted a party outside.
Yeah.
Now, they were in their bathing suits, so it didn't matter that it was
Yeah.
raining for them.
Yeah, they didn't care.
So yeah, we got Dave's pedals and his guitars under the overhang, and then I told Dave, you just hang out here and I'll get the rest of the stuff. So by the time I was done moving the rest of the stuff, I was a wet wreck.
Oh man.
I was soaking wet.
Yeah.
But better me than Dave.
Yeah.
The performer's got to be fresh and dry.
I'll tell you what, man, it's
And
challenging.
It's all right if I get wet, no big deal. So yeah, after I got Dave all connected and he started playing again, and the guy who hired us, he kind of thought we were going to be packing up,
Oh,
and
yeah, no,
I
no,
told
no,
him,
no, no, no,
oh,
no.
absolutely
Way to do
not,
that.
we're
No,
not
no.
packing up.
You
You
know,
paid
these-
for 3
yeah.
hours, you're going to get a 3-hour
Yeah.
performance, and he was really impressed.
Yeah, no, we can't
And
do that.
So yeah, after Dave started playing again, everybody was getting back into it.
Yeah, they were having a good
and
time, man.
And the owner kept asking me, or the guy that hired us, he kept asking me to go inside and get something to eat. And I kept saying, okay, I will. And then finally he says, well, if you're shy, I'll go in and
Yeah.
make you a plate.
And yeah, how
I'm
about it?
thinking, oh no, I'm not shy. But I was all like, all right, I'll go in with you. And so ended up, they had a caterer at the
Yeah, they had.
party,
Oh man.
and they had ribs, two type of ribs that were cooked, and well, oh, the oysters. They had two kinds. I've never ate an oyster
Everything I
before,
don't like.
and yeah, I was not going to try an oyster, but they had the chef. He talked me into it, saying that no, I cooked this in a 500-degree oven, and one of them is stuffed with spinach, and the other one is stuffed with cilantro. And
I like cilantro.
he promised I would not be disappointed. So I went ahead and tried it for the first time, and surprise, I actually it was good because it was cooked, and so I would not
Yeah.
touch it raw. I would not touch it raw.
I don't
No.
touch any. I mean,
Oh
everyone
no.
says you don't like seafood. Why the hell did you move to Florida, man? You get a lot of. I mean, I'll tell you what. If anyone is a seafood lover, anywhere where you're by the ocean, you're gonna get fresh fish,
Oh
man.
yeah, and I like seafood. It's just that the oil it's got to be cooked, unless it's shrimp. I can't eat the shrimp. Well, no, I take that back. Shrimp is cooked. No, nobody would eat raw shrimp right out of the ocean. That does
They
need to
call that
be
sushi, then I guess. I don't know.
David never used Twitch streams. A lot of musicians is on there. I never heard of Twitch streams.
Is it like obviously there must be like YouTube live stream then?
What? Yeah, what is that? Or
Yeah,
I'll go online
and just check.
and
Yeah,
start researching that. Twitch streams. A lot of musicians are on there. Okay. Twitch
definitely
is
check.
a stream channel for gaming, travels, music, talks, etc., etc.
Wow. Now,
Huh.
could you do streaming from your phone? Because I guess some of these, I guess you have to have your laptop. I don't know. I could be wrong. 'Cause I think maybe a lot of these platforms are getting hip that everyone's doing this mobile device, like especially their phone. So they're like, you know what? We got to compete with YouTube, which is, you know,
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, thanks for that
yeah. Thanks for that.
information,
I have to
Metal
check
Gaming.
that out,
We'll
man.
check that out for sure.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, with the I'm really happy and surprised with that little Boss GT1 because the ME80, I love the way the ME80 is laid out. That thing is great, man. You could use if you want to use two separate modulations at the same time, you can. If you want to use three delays at the same time, you can. Brilliant. I really wish they would put a little bit more thought into the overdrive and the amp sims. But I think its main source is to go through an actual guitar amp. It will do through a PA, but there's certain times it's like I don't know. Maybe they didn't have enough. They did not put enough attention into the amp sim because when you're using your overdrive and you're going through a PA and it starts clipping the tweeters, you get a very harsh high end sound, and I know what that is. It's just it's like all fuzzy. I'm like, oh man. But I'll tell you what, the ME80 through like our Fender Hot Rod Deluxe George Benson model. Whoa, that thing smokes, man. Oh my God, does it sound great? It's like it was made for it. Perfect. So that's why we went and got the GT1. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up, one of our YouTuber friends said that she has that, and the foot switches, yeah, they are plastic. But I'll tell you what, for it being plastic, the knobs, they're real, they're nice and firm. They're not loose. It's very surprising. And even though you got that mini pedal and it's plastic, but it's a thick plastic. I mean, I wouldn't try to put all my weight on it, but it took me a while. I mean, no, I can't say. I thought it would take me longer than it would actually take me to till you get used to a mini wah pedal, because that's basically what it is, because it's small. No problems. No problems at all. And the foot switches, even though they're plastic, they're like squared plastic, they're very firm. So when you hit it, you cannot accidentally hit anything, but at the same time, you don't have to like try to stomp on it. It just, man, it's a smooth transition. And what's really cool, I'm starting to realize, again, being poolside with the chlorine and then with the atmosphere, with the salt water, it's not going to corrode the plastic, you know. And of course, the casing is metal, and the screen is nice and big, so it's like, wow,
So Metal Gaming says phone, I think yes, or set up via Streamlabs. You can do multiple cams, setup,
wow.
etc. You can make your own colored channel with effects, donation link, and subscribes.
Wow.
I have a Boss ME80. I can put USB printer cable in Boss ME80 and open Streamlabs OBS and go live to Twitch. I can also go live to YouTube via Streamlabs OBS program.
Sweet.
Oh.
Now, you know what is interesting, because the ME80 with its USB port,
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of the magic is, because
Oh.
we still have our ME70, and somewhere in here we have our ME50. So we have the three ME series where it's knobs, because they did have the ME20 and 25 and all that. But with the ME80, that's the one with the knob based one where it had the USB. And I think when they did that, they gave it extra access into like their amp sims. I'll tell you what, the ME80 is a fantastic pedal. And I like the way you got the double switches. There's no way you could accidentally hit anything. That's what I like about that. You cannot accidentally, hit two switches together, then you get a looper and all this other weird stuff happens,
There's a program online downloadable free to Boss ME80, so you can add effects, etc. via laptop or PC.
Yeah, because I think it's their Tone Central.
Nice.
Yeah.
Metal Gaming, you're up late.
I tell you what.
It's like almost 2:30 in the morning by you.
Yeah, jeez. What was I saying? What's nice with those Boss pedals, the ME80 and the GT1?
I'm a Nighthawk.
Sweet. Is that you could slap batteries in it. If you're in a situation where you're doing a gig and you're limited to plugins, power, you can slap the batteries in, and surprisingly, you'll if you could do a 3 or 4 hour gig, you'll be able to handle it with the ME80 and the GT1, which is shocking.
I watch UFO live shows from USA almost every evening night in some 1 to 2 hours.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, he thinks it's Tone Central.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Boss Tone Central. I'm gonna tell you something. I was looking at the Headrush. Was it the MX5? Because Headrush does sound good, man. And I mistaken the Boss GT1 for the Headrush, and I was shocked when I saw the video. I'm like, oh shit, man, this is pretty badass. I will say, I love the Digitech pedals. They were always great, but when they got shelved, here's the problem. They're shelved. Now, what are you gonna do? You can't replace it. And if you're looking for a certain tone, it's like, oh crap. Now you go with a different brand. You try to mimic the sound that you've been getting with your previous gear. So I start to realize, because before I went to Digitech, I was using the Boss, and then after Digitech, my pedals starting to wear out because we're using them a lot. And what happened was, wow, look at that, like my cartoon character. Yeah, what happened, what made me realize is that, okay, went back to Boss, and as I think about this, what's cool with doing this, Boss has a long history. I never got out of playing music, and I never got out of being in touch with, what's at the music store and that, I never seen Boss disappear and then make another comeback. They've always been a very strong company. And you know, when you're playing out a lot, yeah, this is all a work of art, and it really is. I mean, it's very, and so is the electronics, but they're also tools, you know. And you know, if you're trying to get a job done and the tool craps out, and then the company's out of business, that's like, oh crap! Now I got to go fishing, looking for something that comes close. Then it's got to be easy to use because in 2 days they got another gig. They got to reprogram. It's just such a pain in the ass, man.
So we'll go
Yeah.
ahead and wrap it up.
But
Over an hour.
but yeah, guys, um, my suggestion is when people are buying gear, buy what you want that's going to work for you because all these companies, if they were junk, they wouldn't be able to sell it. Really, you know what I mean? Everything is a personal taste, and then you start finding out what works for you and what doesn't, and that's what inspires you, and that's what inspired me, and that's where we're able to get all this music out there. Because I mean, if you're a creative person, man, you're gonna do what you want anyway. And I'll tell you what, guys. Now with Twitch, I guess, because Deb will look into that. But with the whole thing with social media, anybody out there that hasn't gig or they haven't gigged in a while, and they like to get out there again and gig, or if they never went out there and gig, it is a different time now compared to when it once was. So, what's really cool with the social media is this hits worldwide, you know. And unless you're streaming at your gigs, that's not going to hit worldwide. You know what I mean? So, I know you have to drag your gear all over the place too. That's what's nice.
We have 2 gigs tomorrow.
Yeah.
So join us for one or both if you can. We're at Yucatan's again every Saturday, 12 to 3 Eastern. And then from there, we're going to be at Mercola. It's their comedy night. And we are performing for the reception prior to the comedy show. So that will be from 5 to 7:30 Eastern. Eastern time. Yes.
Yeah.
So
it'll be a great time.
Yeah, we got a double header tomorrow.
Doubleheader tomorrow. Yeah, and our seeds are, we got them online, and we really appreciate everyone's interest in them. Yeah, there she is right there. And she's something else, man.
I put that rack together today. That was my big project to get that done.
Yeah, we
moved the curio cabinet over there. Was in the corner.
It was in the corner
used
there.
To be over here in the. Used to be over here in the corner. Now I moved it over there.
Yeah.
And I put the rack in here.
We live in our workstation.
Oh yeah, it's a warehouse in here. Nobody comes to visit us. There's no.
We got more gear than furniture, man.
We don't have furniture in this house. It's a warehouse. That cat has its own TV.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she does. Now, real quick.
She's watching UFO video programs too.
You know what's really cool with this? I know Yamaha came out with their newer models, but this particular one, this is the black one. This is when their first version of these came out. This is when they had the 3 different versions. The cream color one, that was kind of like the jack of all trades. The green one, which is basically more metal. This one is more of like the boutique classic amps. So this one will have a lot of like analog delays and phasers and all that. The magic is, if you want a metal sound, because it really on its own does not really do good with a metal sound. If you want to get a metal sound, you take a tube screamer and overdrive, and you overdrive the amp, and you'll get very close, because it does have one of the amp settings here is basically off of a Marshall Blues Breaker. So if you set your EQ different and you stick an overdrive in front, you're going to get more of like the earlier classic days of metal, like would be similar to Iron Maiden, the very first albums, and Judas Priest, because the Marshall JCM 800, when they were recording some of that, was not out. I don't think it was not out, because we're transitioning from the 70s into the 80s.
I have a question. Can I put a Metal Zone Boss pedal in the Boss ME80 pedal board?
Yeah, you can. there's two ways of doing here. Well, yeah, if you run your guitar into the metal zone, and then the output of the metal zone into the input of the ME80, you will not distort your modulation effects and delays by using it. If by using your metal zone, if you put the metal zone and the output of the ME80, if when you use your modulating effect, it's gonna get I'm gonna say it'll be your delays will get real nasty. Now, unless you want to use like a spaceship type of sound, then that it'll work. But what you could do is with your metal zone, because you got like different EQs on there. It's gonna take a while to do this, but on the ME80 you got all the different amps and you have your gain on there, and you got that EQ. Which here's what's cool with the ME80, you have actually two EQ sections plus your metal zone. Experiment. It's gonna take a while, but you're gonna probably find a sound with that combination that you'll only get with that combination, and it might be something brilliant. You might be able to try to replicate some of these high-end, effect units that are using all this other stuff just by using that metal zone. Because if you really think about this, a lot of the recordings that are deemed the classic rock and classic metal, at that time, we had MXR, Boss MXR, and later on the Ibanez pedals when they were coming out in the early '80s, and Digitech DoD, but you really didn't have all this other stuff. And primarily, Boss was the main pedals that a lot of your stars were using, and people they were modifying stuff, but not too much like it is now. So a lot of those classic recordings, if it was used with the Boss Metal Zone when it first came out, it was used
He
with the
said,
Boss
I
Metal
was
Zone.
just afraid it would fry the electronics, but could be fun to try to gain more distortion via metal zone, maybe just a thought.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way you'd fry the because it's not like you're not sending, anything with a hot output into anything as its input. If you want to be careful, what you could do is the level that's on the metal zone, keep that down, and when you plug it in to your ME80, you have those levels kind of down and just bring up the metal zone a little bit, just little by little, because it's not like you're trying to run it into for you to fry anything out like that. It would be like if you took something that has like an output power. So let's say
Okay, thanks a lot for the
oh
advice.
yeah, you're welcome. I'm trying to think. It's almost like if you were to uh take let's say a Marshall head and take the speaker output and run it into the input of a guitar amp. Now you have a chance of blowing electronics because your speaker output is sending all your wattage out, all that power. So if it's 100 watts, it's 100 watts coming out that speaker jack, boom, into an input jack, and bam, you get like this power surge, like this. It's the watts. It can't handle it. But the output of a pedal, it shouldn't do anything like that. But yeah, keep the volume down and bring it up just a little bit. Everything is different now. But I tell you what, that ME80 with that simple knob bass, man, that thing is great, man. But so yeah, guys, we will be streaming live tomorrow. Oh, what's this we got?
2 shows.
Yep, 2 shows. And here's our big cat. I call him Bugs.
Jomo.
Yeah. He he rode with us all the way from Chicago, Illinois, down here
All
to
the way from
Florida.
Illinois.
Yeah. And no problems, no complaints.
Good kitty.
Yeah.
A good boy.
Yeah. But yeah, we really appreciate it, guys.
Eats good.
He does eat good.
Never miss a
And
meal.
yeah, we'll
Yeah,
have
thanks
more.
for tuning in.
Absolutely.
And next week we'll have another CD.
Yeah, another CD,
to
and
discuss, and so.
you know what we'll do is we'll also combine the CDs and you know our
Oh, I also had two cats once. They are nice and calm. They
they
are.
are. You know
Yeah.
what? You know if you got a nice calm house, you know, no fuss and muss, you know, they can sense all that, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll do the next week streaming Friday
Yep.
live. Talk about you know another CD and talk about what happens, you know, at some of the gigs. Because I'll tell you what, because our channel is geared from the gigging perspective for musicians. Um, you know, it's good to share all that. And it, you know, what happens to me doesn't mean it's gonna happen to you or anything. But one thing it will do is verify what we're doing because as we stream them live, you're seeing everything as it's happening. Plus, I noticed Deb will take like she's doing now with the camera and put down by the pedals, so you get to see exactly what pedals I'm using, and it's kind of a testimony. You know, if I'm on a budget and I can only afford this, will this work? You know, will it hold up? And so far, what I've been using has been holding up. You know, nothing lasts forever, unfortunately. You know, but you know, that's what I mean. You stick with a company that you know doesn't go like this and in and out of business and change ownerships and that, because then you never know what version two, what that's gonna sound like. You know, and that's where the problem is. You know. So, but anyways, my friends, thank you for tuning in. We will be streaming live tomorrow at 12, from 12 to 3, and then again from
5 to
5 to 7:30.
7:30.
Yep.
Yes.
But you guys have a great evening. We appreciate you tuning in. Until tomorrow, be strong, safe, and true. Rock on, and God bless you, my friends. Take care. We love you all.
Love you guys.
Have a great evening.
See you tomorrow.
Rock on, and God bless.